Incredible greetings, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so hello, hello, hello. Hola. I was reading a post. Now I need to go. Here we go. Edit audience, public. And then let's share. And the other one to share from my phone because I can share it to multiple places at one time. All right, so I'm going to share this out. Hello, 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 everyone. Carol, Brittany, Nancy. Happy Friday. How are you guys doing? All righty. So I shared the post. Hopefully, we will be able to keep this one up. Let's see. We're going to move this over yonder. All is well. How are you? I am incredible. Hello, Aquisha. How art thou? Thank you for dropping those peacocks. Alrighty. So we're gonna get into this. Most people will miss the intro and they'll just kind of catch in and get in where they fit in once we kind of get going. But I want to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Incredible greetings. I am Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365. We are the home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products. We carry the absolute best sublimation paper in ink. Our sublimation paper allows you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. You're going to save even more time and money because butcher paper is not required for the top of to put on top of our paper. It does not bleed through. So you don't have to go and put a new sheet of cover paper, butcher paper, parchment paper, whatever it is that you use. So you're going to be able to save on that as well. So check out our products over on shop.hsinc365.com. It's my birthday month. So I'm that person. Yes, I'm that person. I'm going to celebrate all of May and all of Gemini season. I'm just saying. So for me, it's like birthday celebration goes from May 1st until June 20th, 21st. So the end of Gemini season. That's just, May. I'm a Gemini May baby. Okay. We take over entire month of May. So there's some really cool things coming out. I did not sleep. I was up from 7 a.m. Wednesday, and then I didn't go to bed. Like I ended up taking it after I ended up getting Zion Imani. So I went to sleep at 3 p.m. Thursday. So from 7 a.m. Wednesday, when I woke up, did not go back to sleep. I had a bunch of stuff to do. Like I literally had to pull in all nighter to finish up some orders and things like that, because some things were going haywire. And I did not get a chance to go back to sleep because I was like up. Then I had to get the kids ready. Then I had a doctor's appointment. Then I had to go get Zytomine. So I didn't lay my head on my pillow until 3 p.m. So I was tired. So I didn't get some of the things done that I needed to get done for this kickoff for this month. Like our products will be buy one, get one free. So be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, we are also the home of 365 Creative Academy. That is our online platform where we help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of trainings. And this month, we are going to make accessing those classes, except our programs. Now, our programs can't help you with that. But our other classes, there's some things coming down the pipeline for that. I just like it'll all be today, like in this weekend, because I'm playing catch up. It's crazy what losing out like on a day. Like I feel like I'm like a whole week behind because of one day, but we'll catch up. And then of course, Stillaholics Anonymous, that is where most of you guys were first introduced to me. That is my platform where I teach you guys how to use Silhouette Studio as a graphic designing software. Now you can use the machines. I have 7 of them. I love, as far as like cutting machines and needing it for different types of cutouts and printing cuts and cutting vinyl, things like that. My machine of choice are the Silhouettes. I have 7 of them. But you don't have to have a machine in order to learn to use Silhouette Studio. Anybody can, as long as you have a computer, Windows PC or Mac system, you will be able to download Silhouette Studio and use it as a graphic designing software. If you are somebody that mainly uses Canva when it comes to printing, it is best for you to print through. Like if you're not going to go through the process, which we'll go through it here too, of taking your design and then putting it on a design page that's that size, you need to be able to open it up in a program where you can set a design page, place your item, or place your design on there and make sure it's sized right, and then be able to print it. And you can do that with Silhouette Studio. Silhouette Studio is not like Cricut. So I'm finding, like, just through communicating with people, because I'm a talker. I like to ask questions and things like that. So in speaking with people, what I'm finding is those who are Cricut users, when it comes to the Silhouette program, they have this mindset that there's not a really big difference between Silhouette and like Cricut Design Space. And then it's like with Cricut Design Space, where it has the registration marks, like you cannot turn that off. The moment you want to go print from Cricut, it automatically puts the registration marks on there and you're limited in size. That is not the case when it comes to Silhouette Studio. You are able to just open up a design page, whether it is 8.5 by 11. Well, I'll just go down to 5 by 7. All the way up to, like with most printers, you can print up to 47 inches long. So you can set it to 47 inches. If I wanted to send a design straight from Silhouette Studio or create the design and then save it from my Silhouette to my Roland, which I can print 18.5 inches wide and however long, I would be able to do that. So if you are that person that had this kind of thing that, well, in Cricut, I don't want to do a print and cut, right? You think of printing as doing a print and cut, or print then cut, when how Cricut says it. It's not the same. Like you can literally just use it to print. And if your printer is borderless, you can take full advantage of it and you can print borderless. So, just wanted to kind of put that out there, because I am finding that has been some people's resistance to getting into Silhouette, because they're like, oh, I already have a Cricut. Like what's the big deal? And it really is a big deal, especially for my people who are exclusive, like almost like exclusive Canva users. You want to, download. I'm telling you, just go ahead and download. It's free to download. This is not a sponsored video. I am not affiliated with the company for Silhouette at all. Like, I just want you guys to win, right? It's a smart move to go ahead and download it because of what it gives you access to. So this is not about it being sponsored, me getting any type of like anything from that. It is, oh my God. Speaking of which, I just realized I did not do something. I had a certain deadline and I did not do it. It was the 30th. And oh my God. Speaking of, like, I had some money through ShareSale and they sent the letter, and I don't know why I kept procrastinating on it and I did not submit that letter. for these unclaimed funds and stuff like that. Oh my God. Oh God. My husband's going to kick my butt. Anywho. But yeah, I'm not affiliated with them. I was going to say outside of, I do have an affiliate link, but it's through Swing Design for what's the thing called? The upgrades, like designer plus business, like that. But other than that, not affiliated with them. So anything that I'm telling you on it, it is for your good. I'm telling you, if you are someone that has a Roland and you're having difficulty with like removing the background so that you can put your cut contour, Celestidio is a great program to have in your toolkit, okay, for designing and things of that nature. But yeah, so those are like pretty much all the different things that our company kind of does, and the Summation products, the classes, Select Studio. And I have been on these platforms for 10 years, teaching you guys the in and outs of different design programs, of business, of creating different things. And I do these live videos as a way to be able to help you guys in real time. So feel free to go ahead, jump in. If you have any questions for me, inquiries, and you want to pick my brain on something, you want my thoughts on something that you saw in groups, things of that nature, I would like to be able to answer your questions who are like on here, like in real time. But there are some questions that I saw like in some groups, and I figured, okay, well, if you guys don't answer questions, I will just go ahead and just answer some of the questions within groups and things like that, because this way is a lot easier than trying to type it out, and then I will end up just like directing them to this particular video to find the answer to their question. Okay, so feel free to go ahead and put questions and things in the chat, but I'm going to go ahead and just get into it. Okay. I cannot, oh my God. I'm like so upset with myself. I had until the 30th and I did not do it. Oh my God. I cannot believe this. Okay. Anywho. Alrighty. My husband's going to kick my butt. Keep my butt. I can't believe I forgot to do that. Alrighty. All right. Oh, excuse me. How do I? What is it doing? Okay, hold on. Hello. All right, so while I'm trying to get this over here to act right, what are you guys working on? Are you someone that does projects and things for graduation? Are you someone that kind of bypassed that? Are you working on Mother's Day? Are you working on Father's Day items? Well, yeah, so we have those first. And then are you prepping for like Juneteenth, 4th of July? What is it that you guys are working on? Oh, come on. Okay. I didn't want the panel that was there to show up. Birthday party invitations. Is this something that you do on a regular basis as far as designing birthday invitations, or is it for a personal event, like something you're just kind of doing maybe for a family member or a friend or things like that? Or are birthday party invitations something that you regularly design? I'm at my 9 to 5. I had inquiry about a grad stole, and I'm thinking I might do it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to always, to just go ahead and give it a try. I would not. So y'all know how I feel when it's your first time doing something. I don't put a lot of emphasis on some people like the first time they're doing it, like, well, how much do I charge for this, that, and the third? It's a learning process. I'm not really trying to do stoles. I've had some inquiries, and anybody else that I still have like 2 more people that they still haven't submitted their stuff to where I have to do theirs because, I've known about theirs for some time, but I don't want to do them. It's too many variables. Like I'll say, I just did one and I'm a little pissed because it messed up in the middle, and so one side of it is like completely perfect. And then don't ask me how this happened because it rarely happens, but it did happen where there's a stupid line on it. So I now have to make that over. Like stoles is a product that I consider to be a high risk product. So when it comes to that, because there is a higher probability of it messing up, especially with the way that I have a 16 by 20 heat press. So it's, you have a higher chance of like messing up. The other thing too with it, even if you had a full heat press where you still cannot technically do like the entire thing because of the way stoles sit. So because of the way it is like right here, you would not be able to unless you had like a really, really, really big heat press to basically spread it out on, you couldn't like just press it all in one. And then when it comes to the way that it is stitched, like because it's folded over, right? And that's actually what happened with this one also. And I don't know it's just like one side of that one just totally messed up. But the pressure on it, and there end up being this like ghosting at the bottom. So I now have to make that one over. So if you're someone that's been in any of my pricing for profit or like my pricing therapy classes or my business program, I'm talk about the way that I break down prices. And, when it comes to supplies, some people just say, oh, just multiply by 3. I mean, that's a pretty decent like starting point or whatever, but there's so much more to it. And then when it comes to like setting the final price, it's not this black and white, type situation. It's like, okay, you just kind of apply the same rules to everything. Stoles is something that is a high risk product. Like I said, it's a higher chance for you to kind of mess this up, unlike some of the other things. So you want to make sure that you are accounting for the stress of it all for doing stoles. So just give yourself some grace. Know that the first one may come. I have ones here that, the customer got theirs, but there's versions of theirs here because things went haywire. Be prepared. Get you a few of them. Practice on it. So that it's not so much pressure. I would say make sure that they kind of cover the supplies with room for mistakes, right? So even if they want one stole, what you would basically have them, like the equivalent of it is buying 2 stoles or maybe even 3 to give yourself like some wiggle room to like practice on it. Calculating for the paper and the ink times 2 or 3, maybe not necessarily like the labor part of it because you're still learning. Like you don't really know what's going to be the right price point for that because this is the first time that you are doing this. So just practice with every stole. You have 4 opportunities to actually practice. And most people don't think about that when it comes to a stole. I just did that. Like I had some stoles. Where is it at? And this was from this one was from like last year. No, what year was this? 2023, right? And so the other side, as I was testing some things out, this has 2 different like designs on it. So I'm always going to use like every side of it. And I have some of them where once they were messed up, when I want to test colors, like I just have a bunch of smaller prints like on the back because I was testing out like different colors and things of that nature. So test, 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 test. So it's okay to, like, okay, well, like tell them, I'll give it a try, and just don't stress yourself. Like, hopefully it's not something that's needed. Like, oh, hey, I need a stole, and they want it like next week. It gives you time to, get your template set up properly. I would not advise doing anything with a trim, being the fact that this is your first time. If you're going to do something, it should be where it is just like a solid one without a trim. Because that trim, and if it's all jacked up and some places it's thin and thick and all that, like doesn't look professional looking. So that would be my recommendation, is to definitely not start with anything that is a trim that you're going to submit. Now, if you want to go and submit it and then you want to put a trim on it with HTV or with both of them, smooth HTV or glitter HTV, go ahead and do that. But with printing it and like pressing it, a lot of the templates that you will find are just rectangles, right? That's how most people design. So if you're going to work from a template, be mindful of that. Another recommendation would be whatever template you have, print it out in black and white. So like put it in grayscale. It can be in draft mode. It does not have to be in the best like color option and things like that, but print that out. You want to take your stole, put it on it, and make sure that it's going to cover in certain areas. Make sure that the main parts of the design do fit, because there are some stoles that are straight line. There are some that are curved. We go through all of this in our grad master program. We also have like the a la carte classes just for stoles and things of that nature. But there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to doing the stole. It's not as like just clear cut as some people make it out to be, because there are so many different types of stoles. Even when they are the same length, they are cut differently. You have some that the mistake that I made originally was the ones that do curve, thinking that they were all the same, and they're not. Some of them are cut and sewn much wider than others. Some are narrow. So if you're using like a generic template, when you have, whoever purchased something, thank you so very much. Whenever you go to like press that, and if it was designed for one that's wider, when your stole is now more narrow, you're going to lose some important parts. People don't think about safe zones. So like I said, it can be a lot. Like if you've designed with me and been in my classes, these are things I tell you to always consider, is knowing your actual like cut edge or print edge, doing a bleed if it's a full one, and then always doing a safe zone. That's going to be important. So all right. For my niece this time. Okay. So, hey, just say hello. I am new. I'm still trying to get my subscribers, I'm guessing, up, I guess. Custom t-shirts, tumblers, mugs, hoodies, keychains, journals, bookmarks, and sub ink. Okay. So you're also in the sub ink game. We also sell submission ink. What made you get into with all of the other items, like doing all of your custom things? Like that's a totally different audience than selling the actual like products to make the things like paper or ink. Did you start off with that? Do you have the audience? It's like you're getting your subscribers up. So those who are normally buying ink probably wouldn't buy your t-shirt, tumblers, hoodies, keychains, and journals, unless you mean that you're doing blanks, because yours says, that's the thing that's kind of weird for me, because it says creations by. So when you say that, are you selling, because we also said custom t-shirts, so I guess that's not blanks. Interesting. Hey, how art thou? All right, so we are still answering questions, and hopefully that helped. Aquisha, let me know. But I'm answering questions. You want to pick my brain about certain things, get my perspectives on certain topics, feel free to go ahead and drop it in the comments. All right. And I'm going to go through just some of like questions and things I've seen like in various groups. All right. So there is someone who, I guess I'll do it. So I'll do it this way. Okay, well, because then I won't be able to see. All right, let's do this. And okay, why are you doing that? Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay. So someone posted this picture, right? And they asked the question, is there a way I can create this with foam boards? Please give me all details, including where to get prints. Thank you. Thanks in advance. Okay. So with something like this, is it something that you can do with foam boards? So most times when it depends on like what you consider to be foam boards. I actually just went through this with an actual client of mine, and she wanted these cutouts of letters to kind of be like the marquee ones, but without like the sidewalls and like the real lights and things of that nature. And so when I said, okay, well, I would end up cutting them from foam board, you know, and well, she originally said she wanted like a paper cutout, like a poster board, like type cutout. And so I was trying to explain that when it comes to like the paper one, I don't have a machine that's large enough to cut the paper down to like that size. What I normally do is either cut vinyl, because I have the wider machines to cut vinyl. And then I will put it on the foam board, and then I can hand cut that. Most will ask, well, if you can cut the vinyl, why can't you cut the paper? Well, vinyl is on a backing. And sorry about that. Vinyl is on a backing, and you do what's called a kiss cut. So kiss cut means it's going to cut through just, actually, I'll show you with my, I actually just had to print out some labels for the back of some fans that I'm doing. So this had the whole layer on it. So when you kiss cut, it will, oh, this is the one that's messed up. The print cut was off. It leaves it, the backing intact. It doesn't go all the way through, and you're able to just take this off. So you are able to basically cut this without a mat, right? I would be able to do the same thing on like my Roland, and if it's just vinyl in there, it's just going to cut, kiss cut, and it's going to keep the rest of it intact. Now you can cut all the way through, and you do what's called like a pref cut, like basically perforation, but I don't really like to do that when it comes to paper. I don't really like to do pref cuts much at all on mine, because you end up having to, it's just a whole lot for me when it comes to like the pref cuts on that machine. So I don't really do anything where you're cutting it all the way out, because it's a special setup, because the paper won't have anything to stick to. I cannot put a mat in my large cutter, things of that nature. So I don't typically, of course, cut just paper like large. If I am, it's going to be, I'm taking smaller sheets of paper, putting the template on it, taping it together, have to hand cut that out, then put that on top of poster board, trace that, and then cut it out. Back in the day when I had my projector, I would put the projector up, tape the poster board or cardboard to the wall, project it on there. I would trace it out and then cut it out that way. But that takes a really, really long time. Okay. It takes a long time. So I was like, okay, I can't do that. But I mean, how I don't do mine, like with the vinyl and stuff. And so when I was like, okay, on foam board, she was like, oh, no. Because in her mind, foam board was like the insulation foam that people are making the big backdrops out of. So you can go into any hardware store and you can get the yellow. There's another one, like there's actually a couple different ones. And that's why it's good to be in like certain classes where someone can really give you like give you all, not say warnings, but like just kind of make you aware of like everything, because sometimes people will teach these classes and they'll just go and say, okay, like foam board and like the insulation board. Well, if you go into certain stores, there's more than one type of insulation board. And let's be real, crafters a lot of times will want to go for the cheaper option. And there are some that are cheaper options, but they're not like the right type option for some of these things. But anywho, so when I said foam board, she thought I meant the really big, thick insulation foam. And I'm like, no. So I have made some things for her in the past. I'm like, remember how I made the centerpieces? It'll be that material. She said, oh, no, that's perfect. That's thin. That's lightweight. All right, cool. Boom. Right. So with what the picture that they showed here, right? So we're going to go there. Could you do foam board? Yes, but most times the foam board that you're going to just regularly find like in stores, they're going to be 20 by 30. That is a lot bigger than 20 by 30. There are companies that will sell the foam boards in 4 foot by 8 foot panels. That's normally how I get mine. From a signed supply company, and they end up delivering. I've tried once to just kind of have it cut down and put inside and to put all the seats down in my Durango. It's still been same thing with my Coroplast. So now I just have them deliver it to me. So unless you have somebody with the flatbed, get you a company. And that's something that I don't purchase online. I purchase locally so they can go ahead and deliver it to me. I'm not paying an arm and a leg when it comes to getting these 4 foot by 8 foot pieces. So you may want to look into your local area, look for sign supply shops to see if they have the bigger foam, like the 4 foot by 8 foot pieces. And those are still a lot less expensive than the big insulation ones. They are a lot more flimsy though. So you are going to have to put a lot of bracing on the back. Like you can't just kind of do the small one. You're going to have to put a good piece of brace in the back because the 3 by 16th foam board is very thin, and the bigger it is, it's not as like stiff. So can you? Yes. Could you possibly tape together a bunch of foam boards? Absolutely. It's just going to be about the support. So where you are saving money when it comes to the cheaper boards, you're going to have to spend some money to create a really good support for this thinner foam board. Okay. Now, if you go the route of the thick insulation boards, those you don't have to have as large of a support in the back to almost go the full length. A lot of times people have the shorter ones because it is it's a lot stiffer. It's thicker and it's stiffer. So long as you can kind of keep it upright and put some weights on it, if it's going to be like outside. So those are some things to think about when you're thinking about foam. What type of foam? Is it going to be indoor, outdoor? Do you also need to have weights for it to weigh it down if it is going to be outside? If it, as far as it being flimsy. As far as the print, depending on the size that you want it to be, will determine where you're going to get your prints from. The larger it is, I'll be honest, some of the smaller businesses who they're doing a mixture of everything, and their primary business is not print. Because their primary business is not print, sometimes they can see it as, well, I'm not making enough off of like the printer. So their prices can be a little bit off. But when you go with a company where their primary thing is printing, and those printers are going 24/7, basically, their price points are a little bit different because they're pricing based off of volume. So my recommendation would be to put some boots on the ground, right? Like actually go in and look for print shops, get a bunch of different quotes from places, find out like what's the largest that they print. Like I said, some of the smaller businesses, because they're doing so many other things, like, and they're not exclusive to print, I find that they are a little bit higher. It's not that the quality is better, not that the customer service is better. Their prices are reflected in the fact that this is not their primary thing. So they're just trying to figure out how to make money from all of the things. And like every once in a while, when they get a print, it's a little bit higher because they're like, oh, but I have to do this. Like they're not buying their supplies in bulk. So their prices can vary a little bit. So do some research to find companies if you're trying to save on money with the prints. You can go through like the CVS and the Walgreens, and they'll be like on sale and things of that nature. But for that particular size, you may have to basically get like 2 prints and then, basically tile them together. But then that doesn't give you that clean, seamless look like on one panel. So whatever their max size is, so if you go to CVS or any of those places, some of them, they have the big prints, because I've seen some people do like the photo boards with it. You just want to look and see what their largest print is, and then you can make that determination as far as like what size your panels will be. But the actual print shops normally have the ability to be able to print seamlessly on more than one, like for more than one like panel or whatever, without having any breaks. So that's some of the things you want to think about. Look for local print shop. You can always, go the route of like some of the online places, some of the popular online places, or you can go local, like big box store like CVS and Staples, Office Depot, all of those places where they will do prints, but the price, you have to then look for coupons. Without the coupons, they are quite expensive. Okay. So that would be the answer to that one. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. All right. So let's see. And if you have any questions or concerns, feedback on anything that I've went over when it comes to that, feel free to let me know. If it was helpful for you, let me know in the chat. I like to at least see some engagement. Let me know that y'all here with me, because then I start to feel like I'm just talking to myself, and it's kind of pointless being up here, because it's not like a Zoom and I'm getting to see faces and things like that. Like, I don't know what's going on the other side of this. So definitely let me know if that was helpful, even if that wasn't your question, because it may come a time when you need to do a backdrop. Ooh, this is a good one. Yes, you can. So this question, oh, hold on, let me open up a design page. I don't need this. No. All right, I'll just use this as an example. All right. So the question says, I've tried to print bigger than 8.5 by 11 images and tape them together. I always end up with white lines after I press. Please help me with your tips and tricks. I really want to master this. Okay. So this is at 38 minutes, and like I was just checking at 38 minutes. Okay. So here's the thing with that, right? Actually, let me kind of come off of this to first explain what's going on. When you take a print and you print it out and you just butt it up against each other, if you are not like super, super, super careful, like you would be surprised that there's more white there than you think, right? And then when you're taping it together, even just the smallest opening, you will end up with that white line, because there is no sublimation gas. The sublimation gas, especially when you have pressure, it's meant to go right in the area that it is at. So it does not spread. We don't want it to spread. That's where we get shifting and ghosting and things of that nature, right? So where it is, you want that to sublimate right where it's at. So even if there is a hairline opening in that space, it is going to be white, because there is no sublimation ink to fill in that space, right? So when you're butting it up against each other, to the naked eye, and to like your eyes, like, okay, yep, they're right up against each other. Why, you question yourself, why do I have this white line? It might be a hairline, if it's just butted. Now, when you overlap, if you overlap, and when you go to cut it down, you are like right up on the edge, right? You're not giving yourself any wiggle room. What happens is you could have a sliver of white. When I tell you even the smallest sliver of like where there's no summation ink, you're going to end up with this white line. So the solution to that, so here is now the solution to that issue and to answer that question and what you have to do. You need to create your design where there is overlap on all of the different pieces. So the end of one, there should be part of that design from the end of one side onto like the next piece. And that next piece will have a little bit like the same pieces will be on like these two together, right? And then like the next piece, the end of this one will be the beginning of this one, not bumped up against it. It should overlap some. All right. So that is how you, it's not, so when people think overlap, a lot of times I think that they just think that we're just saying, okay, we'll just overlap the prints. Well, if you printed it out or you split it where it's like right in the middle, like if you just print them out, if you overlap them, you're going to see a shift because those two pieces, once it's overlapped, like where the edges of that one that's on top is, it's not going to line up. So you're going to be able to see that design shift because it's not going to be like seamless. So you can't just print it, just split it down and then just overlap them because your design won't line up. So there is technically like two meanings of like overlap when it comes to piecing things together. You have to overlap it when you split it down or print it out. And then you also have to overlap those on like when you're taping them together. And when you go to cut it down, you want to cut into the color. This is why you want to have that overlap. It's going to give you some wiggle room to where you're not trying to just cut the white part away. You want to actually put your ruler and, into the color, and you want to cut into the color. That is the only way to ensure that you will not have any white left over. Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you're understanding, if I'm making sense, if you understand what I'm putting down when I say that. She says, I've been playing on putting my boots on the ground and finding some reliable print shops. She's like, I'm putting my boots on the ground now. Okay. All right. So you guys are understanding. Okay. So now I'm going to go and show over here what that looks like when you're splitting it up. Now, in my classes, I do show a simplified way of doing this where you don't have to necessarily split. This is what's called a flattened image. It is not layered. I cannot pull any of these elements apart from this. Okay, so this is flattened. It can be a JPEG or a PNG. This has been, the background has been removed on this. So for splitting it up, you would not be able to do this if it is something like in Solar Studio and you have everything like layered. You would not be able to technically split how I'm about to split this. There's a different way that you have to do it. We teach that in our class. But I'm going to show you like a representation of what I mean to actually overlap, okay? So I always make a duplicate. I never do destruction to the main one. So let's say now, I do want to say this. If you are doing something that is long but not wide, you can pre-tape your papers together. I actually have one here that is pre-taped. If it's something that is long, let's say like a stole, you can pre-tape it together. If it's like the boots on the ground fan, that is technically wider than it is. Like it's long, but it's also wide. So you would not be able to just tape it together because when you're taping those, it's taped not like this because it's wider than this. So it'll be taped like side by side. So you have to take those after the fact. But like if it's something that is no wider than like 8.5 inches wide, or 12 by 12.95 if you're doing the wider one, or 11, you pre-tape them together on the back side. And you would be able to feed this in and it will print this long. Every single printer can, so even if you want to do like a long banner with like a regular standard printer, you can print up to 47 inches long, all printers. So every time I see someone, so there's another question I saw, there's like, oh, I want to outsource, but the person said that their printer can only print 11 by 17. They don't know their printer. Every single printer can print up to 47 inches long. You just have to go into the settings. All right. Now we're going to go back over here. So it's going to be 8.5 inches wide, right? So we're going to go 8.5 by 11. That's what size this box is. Your printers have a standard margin on it. You kind of have to know what your margin is. Put a box, print it out, and then you're going to measure. If you don't already know the stats and things of yours. The thing I like about Silhouette Studio and the way that it shows here, you can see the print border, and you'll be able to like just use a line and know like what that print border is. So it's like 0.125, 0.13, somewhere in there. So you don't want to set this up where your like part of your design will be in the margin. You need to account for that margin already. So Silhouette Studio allows you to do that, to be able to split it up properly. This is why I recommend this platform, because you can do so many things, like, and these are all free options. You don't have to pay for an upgrade in order to be able to do things like offset and things of that nature. So we're going to come over here to the offset panel, and we're going to do an internal offset, and I'm going to make that 0.15. Okay. Just to be like, I said 0.15, not 1.5. Okay. Just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to take this middle one, and then we're going to, I'm going to do it the long, well, I'll still keep it this way. So let's say if you did have to piece this together, I'm going to go here, right? And we're going to just add some color. I'm going to take the transparency down so you can see through it. And we're going to go up, and then I'm going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That it doesn't seem like much on here, but that ends up being a lot. If you do too much of it, now you have too much that you have to overlap on the edges. We'll do just a little bit more, but it doesn't seem like much on here, but it really is. And when you put your ruler, you'll be able to cut like a sliver off and still have overlap. I'm going to change the color. All right, just so that you can see. You see where both of these overlap at. I'm going to do the same thing here. This is not what you would print for. This was a mock-up. This is just me doing, for demonstration purposes only, how you would split it. But this is not how I would print out a stole image. Like a stole print would not be printed out this way. Okay. It needs to be the whole panel. All right, so we're going to go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I put like 70. I put a couple more. Okay, so I just wanted you to, I want to get all the way to the top. You would have to duplicate your image at least one time. So I'm just going to copy. I'm going to click on, actually, I'm going to make a duplicate of this too, just so you can see what I end up doing. So I'm going to click here, hold down shift. I'm going to click on the bottom one, click on the image, and then we're going to go modify and crop. Okay. And so you can now see where these pieces are on top of this purple rectangle. You see how it comes over that, because that's going to be the overlap that you need. So now I'm going to go paste in front, hold down shift, click on the purple box and crop that. Now, when they're all together like this, it doesn't seem like there is, any, like, it's just like, it's seamless. This is the look that you want. So if I click on here, I'm going to just take my transparency down. This part is for visual purposes, like for teaching purposes only. I want you to see. Actually, ooh, don't do that. Okay, I'm going to take actually this one. So you can see with both of these areas being lighter, it gets darker here because it overlaps. So now when these are split up and printed, part of, you see how this is where the R is, it's up here, but pretty much the whole R is also down here. Okay. So you'll cut down, trim down both sides, trim into the color for both, but you'll have enough left to where you can go and line that up when you're putting it to like the actual print. So you would line it up and then, tape you'll put tape on one side, start to line up and then smooth it down so the adhesive attaches, and then you'll be able to press that and you won't end up with a white line. Now, because the paper is now thicker, you might end up seeing an impression like a deep line because of the line of demarcation in that thicker paper. You might see that, but you should not see white. Okay. Hopefully that helps. So that was at the 38-minute mark. Okay, so the next, now I see a question here on the feed. I got a T7 external drive, but my downloads are not going there. I have to manually put them there. Is there another step I need to do? So you cannot force your downloads to go there. So it is a drive where you would have to move things around. When you are downloading something, it's going to default to your downloads folder. Like no matter what it is, it's always going to default to your downloads folder. That's just how your system is set up. You're going to have to go and then just click on it and then just move them into that, because it is not really a part of the system for you to kind of just sit in there. Even when your hard drive, it's not going, your downloads folder is a part of your hard drive, but that's just where things go at. Now I'll look. I don't think I've ever bothered with it. Like to me, it's just nothing to just kind of download it and then I'll just move it afterwards. Let's see. I don't know if there is anything that will allow you to default the folder that, ooh, my phone just went dead. Default the folder that downloads go to, but I mean, for me, that's normally what I do. I just download and then move it. But I will look it up to see if there's a way. I don't think I've ever done that, but there might be a way. I might be missing something on that, where you would be able to change your downloads where it goes at. So let me see, storage. Okay, yes. So you can do it. Haha. All right. I know I've never played around with this part as much as I do these things. Okay, so I'll show you where I went to on here if you have a Windows. Okay, so I went, of course, into System. So I'll just kind of go back here. And then, so I was under System. And then I went to Storage. And then Advanced Storage Settings. And then when new content is saved, and you can actually change all of them. So when new apps will save to, and so I would put my T-Shield. New documents will save. Now, these are like when you're saving it as JPEGs. Now, I don't see anything for downloads folder. So yeah, but certain things, so it just says new documents will save to, and then it will be here. Now for me, that doesn't make a difference because whenever I go and I save stuff, I go save as, so I'm always choosing that. Now I don't see anything on here as far as downloads. You can see if you just put document, if it will, and then because it's like a new photo or video, that will be it technically will be a photo. It'll be a JPEG or a PNG. Documents will probably be like if you download something as a PDF, maybe, but that's, you can see if that helps and where it will save to. And then you can also look to see like on your web browser where things save to. Like when you download stuff, because that's like from your browser. So you can probably look in there to see if you are able to change when you hit download, like instead of it going to your downloads folder automatically, if you can kind of just change that. But I'll say I have never looked into that part because I just move them. That is awesome. So what brand did you get? Okay, so that answered that question. Let's see. So someone kind of the same thing. So when I asked someone, they have like larger ones. Someone said that CVS only goes up to 3 feet. So if you needed something bigger than that, that's when you have to look into other places. I'm trying to figure out a good one. Storage is, a lot of people kind of worry about like the storage. Storage is really only a very, very small part of your computer and how fast or slow it runs. A non-generic graphics card is going to be, well, like an actual, like a separate graphics card is imperative, and the RAM, which is your memory. And it's just like how many things can it process? If your memory is low, the more windows you have open and the more things, like it starts to get confused and then it will start to slow down. Most people think it's the storage that's the problem. That's not that big of a problem as, like, depending on what it is that you're trying to do, having better RAM and then having a graphics card. And then, but as long as, I mean, it's good storage. So when you say triple the storage of your old one, where is that storage? I mean, do you now have a terabyte? Do you have 2 terabytes? 4 terabytes was your previous one, 1 terabyte, and now you have a 4 terabyte. Like, where, because it can be triple the storage but still not be enough, depending on what programs it is that you're wanting to use. Something like Photoshop is very, very needy for storage space. Every time you have to do an update, if you don't go out and clear like the old data, that data is just sitting there taking up space. So it's not all, the solution is not always to get more storage. Like, that's your C drive. You want to look at those other components as well. But I'm happy for you. Happy belated birthday as well. All right, let's go to, and shout out to Mama for the laptop. Always good to have a support system, and they will look out. Oh, and this is someone that follows me. I never got this question. Wow. Okay, so let's see if I can get the screenshot of the picture. So it says, hey guys, I need some help making these picture below. The other picture is a tall 4-sided box. That is a pic collage on all 4 sides. And I mentioned that they want these by Mother's Day. Thanks in advance. Now, some of y'all be trying to take on some things, and, like, people don't like to say it, and it's this whole culture of, oh, we can do anything and stuff like that. And it's not a bad thing to kind of see something new and want to kind of try it. Now, if you have a lot of free time, you don't have other things that you're working on, I mean, some people may feel like, okay, it's not a bad thing to at least try. But to me, these are always things that you should try when there's no deadline. Like, it's nothing wrong with trying something new, but a deadline such as Mother's Day is a lot to, like, really, really, to understand all of the skills that's needed. So I'm one where I'm going to be a responsible mentor, instructor, coach, professor, whatever. And I encourage you guys to try new things. However, be mindful when it is a short time frame, and if it's for an order, like taking someone's money for something that you're not really sure what to do, how much is going to really take. Like, you can't really price it properly because you're not going to know how much all of these different things cost. Like, if you can make it with the things that you already have in your craft space, your creative space, or you have to buy like new things, this, that, and the third. But just to kind of break this down, right? These little cone ones, they've been trending. They're not anything that's new. I actually have some that I've done before that I used for a Super Bowl party, and it was the cone. There are a lot of what's what I'm looking for? Like templates and things, and people are just repurposing them. It is best to start to think outside of the box. So I'm going to go over to Silhouette Studio. I'm going to go here. I'm going to open my library and I'm going to go cone, right? So all of these right here. So this is more of a diamond. And actually, you know what? Let's open the library like this. So this right here has a scallop at the top, which, hold on, let's go here. Let's open up a new one. Let's go back to the library. We're going to open that. And then, okay, well, this actually doesn't have the, oh, that was a round one. That's not a, that one doesn't have the panels on it. So hold on. Let's go here. So I'll just open up, let's just say like this one. So this has those panels. So what is it? Something pop. Pop that. Oh, it's pop. I can't think of her name. There's a young lady. Her thing is going like viral right now, and a lot of people have been like asking about it. So even if you were to take something like this particular file that was already set up for paper, right? Where most of these ideas come from is taking something that already exists and something that you already have, and now you're simply going to expand that. Is this made to where you can cut it from paper? Of course, right? But you can also now blow this up, cut it out. You're gonna, put it on foam board or put it on Coroplast or whatever. You're going to score it. You're gonna pop it and then just glue it together. So it's not like it's reinventing or figuring out new ways to use things that you already have in your arsenal, and then knowing how to edit it down. So some people will look at this and they might feel like, oh, well, I don't have that template and things of that nature, but you actually do, because it is just triangles and then having this piece like on the end. Now I want to switch this one out for a different one. Okay, let's say this one right here, because this one doesn't have any of the extras. The scallop part is like an extra piece. So I'm going to merge this one in. And we see how, like with this, I'm going to ungroup. This is like the extra pieces. So we don't really need this part, but these are panels. So if you want to make them bigger, you would adjust them together. But all you do is take this now, which I will just adjust these together or resize them together. Hold on. Right now, this is a total of 7 inches in height is, how big this will be. And then if we ungroup, these span 2.5 inches wide. So that's not that big. So people are basically just making them bigger. And we select all of them together. We're going to expand it. Now, these went from being 7 inches in height. These are now 13 inches. So each cone, like the cone, like you're looking at, it'll be 13 inches long and it's about 5 inches wide. You have to decide, do you want it to be 6 inches wide? Do you want it to be 20 inches long? This, that, and the third. So you can take this and you can alter it. So now that you have, this, the fact that they already have these pieces for you to design within, you can go and just put your picture there, or you can set this up as a collage and then be able to put your different panels and things like that in there. And then this is what I love about having Designer Edition or above, because it's what's called the center of rotation. So I'm going to click on this, bring this down to here. Make sure it's right at the tip. I'm going to select them both and then just go align to the bottom. I had to make that a little bit bigger. And then now that it's there, if I wrote, oh, you know what? Oh, I can do it from here though too. So I'm just going to rotate this. And that's going to be the panel for there. I'm going to duplicate it, rotate this panel here. It's actually, you know, now it's a little bit off. All right, so I tried to make it easy with the panels, but if I was doing this, it would be, I would go ahead and delete my edit points to make sure that they were like right where they needed to be at. Or let's go in here, let's ungroup. Actually, it's better for me to just draw, like do each individual one, so I don't have to keep rotating. It's easier for me to pull the line and make sure that it's right in the middle. But this is, I will say, you know, for some, like, it's not that these things are hard to do, but when you don't really understand a graphic program, or just based off of time, for some people, they prefer to just have the template. But if you are able to, you have the time, you have the know-how, or you at least want to try it, a lot of these different things you are able, or you will be able to make them yourself. You just have to have time and just understand the design process and how to set it up. All right, so there we go with that. I'm gonna go ahead and just duplicate this. And then I'm gonna click on it and I'm gonna split this up. So what that did was it technically gave me all of my panels, like where they need to be at, where I didn't have to rotate it. I'm just gonna move this over here. Although this one, I do need to have the, well, you don't really need to have it because most times they're just going to print it out. So you would have this panel that you can design in, this panel that you can design in, this panel, and then this is the one that you would just, most people are just cutting to glue it to this side, but that is that cone. Now, as far as here, this is nothing but a picture. You're going to take a picture. You can either do real Polaroids or you can make it look like a Polaroid. Canva has templates that are Polaroids and it's a frame. You're going to drop your picture in there and you're just going to print it out. The backing is a piece of black cardstock and you're going to put that behind it. So if you do it like in something like Solar Studio, you can do a print cut on it, or you can have it cut your backing pieces out where you're not cutting them manually. If you have like certain cutting boards, you can, you know, easily line it up to be able to cut that down. Or you'll just kind of maybe have one as a template and then use a ruler and a straight blade and cut it down. But at the however you choose to cut down your backing piece is what you choose to cut it down with. And they're just glued and then it's just bamboo sticks. There is a piece of styrofoam. Like, so normally when these are made, it's a big piece, like a big rectangle piece of styrofoam. And you're just putting it in there and you will arrange it and, you know, make it feathered however you want it to be. And then it's just wrapped in tissue paper. There is, I don't say it's like a special way, but it's not like just throwing it on there. You have to like fold the tissue paper. It's a lot of tape. a lot of tape for this because you would end up folding it, you'll tape it down, and then you'll cover it, and then you end up putting like a bow around it to cover where all of this tape and things are at. So it does take a little bit for this. You can watch so many different videos of people doing like regular bouquets. So instead of it being flowers, it's just pictures, but the technique for the tissue paper outside would be no different than any bouquet or like how they do the money bouquet, things of that nature. So you're going to have to combine the knowledge base for like 4 or 5 different things. So like how to make this one, and then do this. So if you were wanting to not necessarily do like all of this stuff to the outside, and you pretty much want to have the cone and have more pictures coming out and then just have these pieces, they're put in kind of on a slant. You're still going to want to have a piece of styrofoam in the middle because that's what that floral pick is going to go into. So that is how something like that is set up. No, I did not see the post. Conversation led back to your teaching about saving time versus money. I will go check that out. Hello, hello, hello. So we've been on for about an hour. So I answered a few questions. Hopefully the questions that I chose were helpful for you. And yeah, so I prefer, like I said, to answer the questions that you guys have here. But I notice the trend. You guys don't really come on to ask questions. And, you know, I see people like in all the other groups, y'all asking questions there. So I'm like, I'll take the time out because most of these I was going to answer. But instead of me typing it out, it's easier for me just to do a visual for it and then just direct them to this video and say, hey, go to this timestamp. I have to now finish the rest of 20 fan order for grad fans. So I have to do that. And I shall, well, do I have one of them? I know the other one's on the couch. Do I have one of them in here? For you guys to see, I have to now do, I just finished, they picked theirs up yesterday. Here's the extra one. Oh, here it is. They're coming either today or on Monday because, whoa, we have Formula One going on near me. So traffic is going to be horrible in my area. So they said they'll probably come Monday or whatever, but they picked theirs up because his graduation day, they flew out to get to his graduation for today, I think, and Sunday or something like that. So this is one style. I've been using this style since 2018, 2019. So still classic ones. This one is actually a little bit different than how I normally made it. I actually put the bar from this style on here because this one normally didn't have a bar on it, but it was needed for this one. So, and then I put this one, used to just say class of how I typically do it. And then I just took my graduate and shrunk it down to put on there. So they came and got theirs. These two are somewhat the same, but this one just doesn't have the you did it, but they're both round. Oh, this one also doesn't have the 2025, the year on it. Hers is here. But yeah, so more fans going out the door. I have to do 20 of these, and then I have another order that has 8 fans. Someone has 12. I have a 16. I have a 6. A lot of fans to do. Okay, so I got to get to work. I'm about to go get me some coffee because I'm still tired. Like I said, I was up from 7 a.m. on Wednesday. The first moment I was able to actually get some sleep was at 3 p.m. Thursday. So from 7 a.m. Wednesday, got to 7 a.m. on Thursday, I was still up. Had to get kids to school, had a cardiologist appointment, had to pick Zanyani up. My eyelids did not close until sometime after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time yesterday. So yeah, I'm still feeling it. But I got to stay up because these orders need to get done. Fans will keep me busy. Like that's it's a lot of people I've had to turn away for stoles. Yes, my designs are amazing. They're absolutely dope, in how I do them, but I had to turn them down. Like fans will take a lot of time, and I'm just not that. I know my capacity, and I'm not gonna, I can't do what I did yesterday, the entire grad season. 2-3 years ago, oh baby, I barely slept. Grad season, barely slept, doing everything. Not this year. No, 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 no. It's a blessing and a curse. Some people that they'll say that, but especially being in my creative business program, you want to be booked and strategic, right? We don't want to be, I don't really like the whole booked and busy. I don't like that at all. Busy brings anxiety, busy brings stress. I would like to be booked and be able to have all financial goals and all my financial needs met and then some, and be abundant in that. But for me, it's about being strategic with it, right? So I don't often say that I'm booked and busy. To me, busy brings anxiety. When I'm like, I'm too busy to do something, I'm normally too busy to even breathe. Half the time I will be too busy to remember to eat. I want to be strategically booked. I want it to be done in a way where um, I'm able to keep my sanity. So I do like being booked. I like having consistent sales, but booked and busy for me personally just doesn't really work for me and how I see being booked and busy. I like being consistent. That's something that I aim to be. I encourage people to be, is figure out a way to be consistent, right? Because if you don't know and understand what your capacity is, and you are not taking an account of all the things that you have going on in your life, and really looking at the amount of time that you have available to work on these things, because it's not easy. When you are hand making these things, there's no machine that's doing like the bulk of the work. Yes, there's machines that's going to cut them, but I still have to load all of these machines. It's cutting it 2 by 2. I would like to get to a point where, but it also will take away from the customized part of it. So like something like this, because everything is contained in one shape, it's something where I could design these all day, every day. If I had a die plate for it, I would be able to do like the large companies, and you're going to print them all like in a certain spot. You're going to put that die plate on there, and it's going to cut through all of them all at one time, like with one press or whatever. More than just like one sheet, compared to now you have to go sheet by sheet by sheet. And the way that my room is set up now, I'm in a much smaller space. So I had to also limit what I can do, like, so that I'm not completely stressed out. Before, I had a lot more room. I was able to have all of my machines stacked where they can all be going at one time. I don't have that luxury anymore. So it will make this process a whole lot longer. I don't like that for me. So I'm making sure that I am not taking on too much. Like consistency, I like. Booked and busy, for me, what that means to me, I don't. So I am very careful with my words, and I actually would like to have more consistency. Well, I have that, but I would like to grow more like my classes and show people how to do these things, because now I am limited on space for how I used to do orders and my doctors and things. I gotta protect my heart after having a heart attack. So I would like more students to be able to teach these things too, and kind of just spread the information, spread the knowledge, spread the wealth, so that more people can do these things. But hand making stuff, it is a lot. Like crafters underestimate what it really takes when you're doing multiples of things compared to just like onesies and twosies. the one that I have to do 20, and then I have like the other one that's 15. I don't really like doing them. I ain't gonna lie. I like it when people are around like 6, 8, maybe 10. When I have to print double digits of paper, I don't like that for me. I don't really like that for myself. It's a lot to do these. But like I said, like knowing how much time you really have and what you can do within that time frame, and be consistent in not having idle time should be like the first goal. And then once you are like, think about, okay, I have this, where is it I want to go? Then make plans and make preparations, get the cost for a new desk, or if you have to build something where you can have multiple machines. If you don't have multiple machines, how can I, like, what do I have to do to like be able to purchase that and things of that nature, and making a plan. So I'm all about being very strategic and being very smart with decision making and time, and just finding consistency, like being able to be consistent in how you promote, how you communicate with customers, knowing exactly what it is. If you're all over the place, it's going to be like with like your offerings, and I offer this, I offer that. It's going to be hard for you to be really consistent with it. But if you find that signature thing for them to at least come to you, and for me right now, my signature thing is designing. I'm not the lowest cost by any means compared to what they will pay others. But what they value is the way that I design. So people will come to me because of the designing. When it came to the stole for this young lady, I ended up doing it. And basically what I gathered from her mom is like, oh my God, like capturing this perfectly for what it is that she wanted. Like, it's not your traditional stole by any stretch of the imagination, like the way the background is and stuff. And it's like specific to her. So my specialty, and people will come to me because it's like Kia's brain works so different, where I know she'll be able to execute this. And so this is also why I charge for a design fee. People will they're paying more so for my design versus what it's actually going on. And they know that. So definitely make sure that you are very, very careful in what you ask for. And be very specific with it, and being able to work within your capacity, and then being able to also pray for the way, how can I increase my capacity? If it is bringing someone on, if it's being able to get a bigger workspace, which for some people that may mean being put in a position to be in a bigger home, that has more space. You can have a bigger room where you're not working on a table. So just expanding your territory, expanding your capacity. These are like, I try to be very strategic about the things that I ask for and how I ask for it, because you don't want those requests to backfire on you to where it's causing more stress than peace and, enjoyment. So be mindful of that. All right. But yes, staying focused will get you that consistency in sales. Once you have that consistency in how you communicate what it is that you do, you're going to be I guarantee after next month, like after May. And I loved your suggestion. That was you that suggested that, right? Yeah, I loved your suggestion. And I'm like, I just might have to rock with that. But I'm excited for this description session. Having that, and when you work out your description for what it is, it's going to make it easier to communicate it to others. And you're not going to have to constantly like over explain like what it is. And you'll be able to close those things a little bit more. And just staying focused and paying attention to the numbers. Like I keep telling y'all, numbers is more than just the bottom line for money. Paying attention to the numbers. How long would it take to do this? Do you have the capacity to do a 100 unit, 100 piece order in the time frame that they want? Do you want, like, if it's like, even if you can do it in the time frame, if that's going to take up 2-3 of your days, you're not able to do anything else other than what you charge. And this is why I don't really push that whole giving discounts. Most people are giving discounts, and they're going to now get paid less to do more work. And this order that is like this large order, you're giving all this money away and all these massive discounts. So you're now stuck working on this order that you're not getting the full value of what it is that they are getting. And it's taking up multiple days. where if it was a smaller order and you didn't have to give out these discounts, but you had multiple people getting, whatever, like smaller orders, and they're paying full price in that same amount of time, even if it was the same exact like amount of items, you're getting paid more. But for some reason in the craft community, it's this whole thing of, oh, well, I'm going to build out these big old packages and, oh, I want them, because you're worried about that line item, but it's also going to take up so much more of your time. I don't operate like that. I don't teach my students to operate like that. I know it might sting a little bit. It's like, yeah, we want these bigger, but once they realize like, dang, I'm doing all this work and I really didn't get paid for it. And I realized, man, I'm making more money. Like my profit margins are higher working with smaller orders and not having to give out these discounts. So this is how I teach if you want in on that, I'm telling you, get into our creative business program. It's going to change the way that you make money. The way that I teach, the way I help you try to reformat your thinking about what it is that you do, it only helps you in the long run, because it's going to have you making better decisions, smart decisions for yourself, and not being so obsessed with just that line item and having an order that, oh, well, I had an $800 order. Okay, you had an $800 order, but how much at the end of the day are you really making from it? How much did you lose because you discounted it so much because you had this and this and this and this and this and this? Oh, well, they want all that, be a one-stop shop and give them a bundle deal. Okay, I'm going to take off $200. Why are we taking off $200-$300? Lies you tell. I'm not working. I'm not doing more work for less pay. I wouldn't accept that on a 9 to 5. I'm definitely not going to bring that into my business. I wish I could get more people on to get that message to them. Please stop doing more for less. Work on getting consistent sales, even if it's smaller chunks, but it's consistent. Your profit margins, I guarantee you, will be higher with consistency versus having large orders that you're putting all these discounts on. But, that's, what do I know? I mean, I just might be, a really great business coach, but hey, what do I know? The vault contains a bunch of different templates of different things so it's not going to say it's like every single template. I don't make everything, but people were asking for the templates of things that I make. I mean, there are some people, they've never touched any of the other stuff in there. They got it just so they can have access to the templates, and they are mainly silhouette ones. I have been working on converting some things for Canva, but they are not going to just be put in the vault, because people knew, like when I was doing those, it was for silhouette. So pretty much everything there is different templates that I've had, whether it's yard signs or like already set up for tumblers or mugs and chip bags and things like that. There's some memorial items. There was like certain ones like for keychains, like ones where I had to either scan them and then retrace them, all that. So it's a wide variety of things that are in the vault. It's mainly the things that I pretty much work on. Things that I've made them, and then people have asked about them, and then it was just kind of a compilation of things that I have made that have specific shapes to them. They're not designs. It is the outline. A template is the outline, the sizing of something, and then you're able to customize it. So they are not design files. There's like a few of them here and there where I've dropped in like some design ones, but they are not design files. They're not edible designs. They are templates that give you like the exact size for things. Okay. Just waiting for response to make sure that I don't know if you're still on for that. also like Zoom too, because Zoom lets me know who's on, who's not. Like the other day when you went on a creature, I was like, oh man. So I was like, okay, well, this is the question, her question. I saw that yours had not you. I was like, okay, I'll wait for her to come back before I answer. That's why another reason why I love like my Zoom lives, because I can tell like who's in the room. And when I'm answering a question, like if you happen to ask a question and like now I don't see it, like I'm not going to answer until you kind of come back, or if I have to answer it, I'll do it and you catch it on the playback. But I like being able to see exactly who's still in the room. All I see is numbers at the top. I don't see faces or icons and things of that nature. So, all right. No one else. No one else. Going once. Going twice. Sold to the super tired professor who needs coffee. So I'm about to hit up. I'm about to hit up Wawa's for some coffee. Until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Did I not say that? I said that. I was like, I didn't hear a response. I answered your question and there was no response to it. And I was like, I wonder if she is still here. And I was like, this is why I like my Zoom, because I can always kind of well, even then, I guess if you just stepped away, I would not have known. But yeah, so you'll have to go back and watch. But I did answer your question to what was in the vault. So all right. Until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.